he might have a
This is what I hear, a bunch of clowns parroting.
You would be wrong.
If you want to kill the most things, become a vegan.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're thinking about individual life, if you don't think that one life equals one life,
why don't they have anyone rebutting from the other side? They're just two people who agree and don't think objectively. They're just, this is what's called propaganda. They're not talking debating issues. They're just a bunch of weak-minded people and addicted, basically agreeing with each other, not giving the other side a chance to speak. Fascists.
If you think that small things aren't as valuable as large things, that's a totally different discussion, and that's a weird discussion. But
we leave animals alone.
If you think that all life is sacred, well, what about the lives of
the billions of factory farm abused animals who suffer birth to death and you're silent on? And since Joe uses testosterone replacement therapy as a commentator and a wannabe MMA guy, here's one of many vegan athletes. So on to crop deaths. Now these look like fake images from a basement from construction workers or something. I don't know where they pulled this. I've seen ones with turtles, skunk, deer, all sorts of animals. So this is what they're talking about, harvesters. Do they try to improve it, going slower, raising them, and other methods? No, because it's an excuse. Again, most crops are fed to force-bred animals. It's not simply the unedible remains. Some is, and even hay harvested for livestock. So yeah, most grass-fed is harvested. Kind of like this corn or soybean, some grains and hay, as well as this feed, grown to feed birds in sick factory farms. Here's some more and more. And, oops, wrong picture. Them just force breeding and raping animals and stealing the baby calves for utter suckling, confused to their mamas. Oops, rodeo cowards abusing animals, thinking flexing on animals makes them strong. Really just insecure boys. And here's some feedlots where they're fed a lot of corn and soybean to fatten them up. So I'm glad they're organic, garden, or seek out sustainable farmers markets and are vegan too, rather than pretend to care and make excuses. Vegan is about leaving animals alone, not self-defense. About 99% of birds come from sick factory farms where they suffer birth to death. So it's not just about the death, but long-term suffering in sick factory farms that you can look up as meat.org and meatvideo.com. We need to defund USDA welfare subsidy. You just saw pigs castrated, tail and ear docked, birds are debeaked, male chicks are emarcerated or ground up alive and by the millions for the egg industry. But they care so much for wildlife when they're bragging about trophy hunting or posing with the dead animals. Meanwhile, human animals doubled in 50 years and killed off 69% of wildlife, according to World Wildlife Reports. Again, humans doubled in 50 years and killed off 69% of wildlife. Are they promoting for them? No, because they do not care. Now, if they did care, they would be promoting organic, vegan, child-free, and sustainable living. Or at least smaller families, gardening, farmers markets that hand harvest, not more meats, or the carnivore diet for 8 billion people. Yeah, that's real sustainable. You just saw wildlife expert David Attenborough promoting veganism. Most major dietitian organizations worldwide endorse it too. But let's stick to the pretending to care for wildlife and crop deaths, which they do not care to improve upon, just make up excuses. Do they ever speak out against factory farms and the lack of need for animal products? No. And hunting 8 billion people? No. It's not just the cow, but how. Mostly animals. 8 billion people cannot eat animals. Pasture raised, too resource intensive. This study shows that most feel guilty. And so, conservatives and Joe Rogan types on the carnivore diet when he says we're omnivores. More meat, more kids. Yeah, that will solve absolutely nothing and destroy more wildlife and cause massive suffering. If you really care to help, here are some ways you can help wildlife and all animals reducing the suffering. Rodeos, trophy hunting, factory farms, super trawler net, and sick fish farm.
Honorable is portrayed as naive at best and degenerate at worst. Real men dominate, they don't nurture.
To do it from an ethical reason is absurd.
And
The
breastfeed
reason I
from
say that
animals,
is
udder
I have
suckers.
plowed a field. It is carnage. And every single plant that you eat is going to be tilled into the ground in some capacity. So you're going to kill everything.
Most crops
It would
feed
be
animals.
So nice
Factory
if
farms.
I could go a day, just one day, without addressing the crop deaths.
They're spreading these
But I've been
bullshit
involved in
concerns.
animal rights long enough to know that's just
They don't
never
care.
going to happen. Let's start with the basics.
I heard
it's
it.
not true that more animals are killed for plant.
I heard it 20 years ago at Texas A&M, and most crops feed factory farmed animals who suffer from birth to death. Organic, vegan, farmers markets, gardening, of course, all safe and reduce suffering even more. They won't mention that. They don't want to improve farming or anything. They want to stick to what they like. That is the best excuse. They are weak addicts.
Even if it were true, animals eat so many plants that, due to basic biology, using crops to feed animals and then kill and eat them will always kill more plants than if you eat plants directly. But the more you might have
This is what I hear a bunch of clowns parroting.
You would be wrong.
If you want to kill the most things, become a vegan.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're thinking about